Hi everyone, welcome to Fat to Thin Senior RNY. I'm Raven. I was 76 years old when I had gastric bypass surgery on December 16, 2019. Last month I talked about the past 18 months and new weight loss, finally. In this vlog, I'll be talking about foods that slide in and give me the creeps, okay? If you're curious, please continue to watch and join me on this journey. I gave up trying consciously to see how much I can eat. I realized that that's not going to do anything for me except stretch my stomach. I hear many stories from people who have friends who had the surgery and who say things like, she would shove it down, a whole hamburger. She weighs 300 pounds now, you know. And then why do that anyway? Because there are side effects. For instance, if you're trying to shove down too much food, you have dumping syndrome. That is painful and nasty, downright, coming out both ends at the same time, and painful besides. Why would you want to do that? It stretches your stomach. Didn't you just have an operation to make it smaller? And then of course there's weight gain. So you gain it all back. What was the point? So that's why I consciously stopped seeing how much I could eat. Unconsciously, I found I had to stop as soon as I noticed. For instance, I have this tiny little teaspoon. Well, it's a very long, it's made for a teaspoon. And I have this container that I keep sugar in. Now, when I had the operation, I had thrown out everything and I realized I had tossed out the sugar too, so I bought a new 4-pound bag of sugar and I put it in here and it actually just fit. This is almost 2 years and I've been going at it 1 spoonful a day. Well, what I found is that every now and then I would go and dip my spoon in there and then I realized I'm going back for another dip. Why would I do that? I'm already used to just 1 spoonful of sugar. It's enough sweetness, all of that kind of good stuff. I didn't have any reason to look for a second spoonful. Or I'll decide, you know, let me just take a tiny little bit more. Why? So I put it back into the container. Yeah. But I mean, these are conscious things that keep creeping in. Talking about the creeps. When I'm serving myself dinner, for instance, mac and cheese that I've made outside in the solar oven, you know, is really good. It's one of those things you just want to keep shoving in your face, you know. So you take a spoonful, and of course you got that great big spoon, and you say, oh, just a little bit more. You just take it a little bit. Yeah, all of those, a little bit more, those tiny little bits add up, you know. So my suggestion, and what I've done, is just to reduce the size of the serving spoon. Because, I mean, if you got to keep digging in there, you know, you have a certain amount of muscle memory from digging in there anyway. It satisfies that. And you don't eat any more than you would anyway. Or maybe you're the type that wants just 1 extra French fry. Or extra fruit. Take, for instance, fruit is a danger for me. It's an absolute bad piece of news. I keep thinking, well, fruit is okay. It's good for you. You know, it's good for you. And who counts the calories? I mean, fruit doesn't have any calories, right? You can, and I keep mine out on the counter in general. And I pick, you know, a couple of grapes, a few cherries. Every time I walk past the counter, that stuff adds up, you know. So I really don't like cold fruit. My thing is to not just buy as much as I used to buy. I would buy the pounds because I was having it delivered or whatever, and I just didn't want to go back to the store. Well, as it turns out, Can't do that anymore. And then, of course, there's potato chips or cookies. Those have been creeping back in, too. So I get one bag of potato chips. Well, I might as well get the family size or the party size, you know, because I'm not going back to the store for the next month or whatever, 2 weeks. And let's get a package of cookies, too, you know. And then another creep is processed meats. Mostly it's stuff that I don't have to cook. It fills a quick craving, but it doesn't fill me up, you know, like pepperoni or hard salami or frankfurters, you know. Yeah, I'm getting my protein, but really, am I? I found two things talking about stuff that creeps in. I found that if I keep a plate nearby, let's for instance, I dished out that mac and cheese, and I found that there's, you know, a little bit left over that I really don't want to put in my mouth. So I shoved I'm being a good girl, I shoved the plate away. But I don't take the plate and put it over there or in the refrigerator or scrape it off and throw it in the garbage or whatever. But it's sitting right here. I find that I will pick at it until it's gone. Didn't need to eat it. I'm so overfull. To the point of maybe possibly having dumping syndrome. And as for sliding foods that slide in really easy, chicken tenders, you know, glass of wine. I use one specific glass in this house that only measures 4 ounces to get a glass of wine. Because I keep sipping and think it's like the fruit, you know, it just keeps going, right? And then there's ramen soup. Now, I don't know why, but I'm a big fan of ramen soup. Probably because it's fast, it's easy, it tastes good. I can throw some can of veggies into it and make a pretty decent soup and not have to think about it. But one little package of ramen soup is 400 calories. You know, I mean, if you're eating 800 calories a day, that's it. You overdose big time, and you got to skimp for the rest of the day. And fruit. I'm a big fruitaholic. Yeah. Burritos, and anything like that is just terrific. And they slide down very easily. I don't have to think about it, except fortunately burritos will fill me up. Fortunately. And then there's the really bad stuff like ketchup and mayo, olives and pickles. Who counts those things? Who measures them? You know, they all add up. They've been sliding right into my body without me thinking about it until finally I noticed it. I found that if I leave the glass that I measure my wine out and not wash it and put away, that every time I see that glass, I want some wine, because it's the only glass that I use for wine, right? I find myself thinking about the fruity taste of the wine and how cool it is and that kind of stuff. And what time of day is it? Is it okay to drink it now? Of course, I only drink one glass a day, so I might as well wait until the evening when I can sit back and enjoy it, right? And then I find there are foods that I eat all the time. I think I'm really avoiding cooking. And if it works in the air fryer or the microwave, I'm just a happy camper. No pun intended. Mostly processed foods like breaded butterfly shrimp or salmon burgers, which are really very good. Or burritos, as I said before. Then of course, because I'm really lazy, I do things like Hormel spaghetti and meat sauce or canned soup. Okay. I eat unprocessed but in excess fruits, as I said before. Mostly because I keep thinking it's good for me, you know. I eat a lot of fish, mostly tilapia, pollock, salmon. And my downfall with fish is that I really like fried fish cold. I will eat leftovers right out of the fridge. In fact, I will make more so that I have leftovers so that I can eat it out of the fridge. I need to teach myself not to cook an excessive amount when I'm cooking it, you know, maybe 1 day's worth of leftover instead of 3, you know, because I'll eat all 3 in 1 day, you know. And then I found out this last month that I have allergies. Allergies to foods and other things that I didn't notice before I had the RNY. For instance, I have a feathered pillow, down pillows, and I didn't realize that I really am allergic to down. I had put the pillow away because of neck pain and shifted around the other 3 pillows that I have on my single bed. I didn't think it was supporting me well. I kept waking up in the middle of the night with headaches and neck pain mostly. But anyway, I had put it away for about 6 months. But for some reason I decided to pull it out thinking that my other 3 pillows weren't working well either and I'd better give this a try again, you know. Well, and as I said, it's a down pillow. By morning my nose was open like a faucet, my eyes were itching, my throat was swelling up around, and it was bad news. Okay. I also found, since I've had the RNY, that I am lactose intolerant. Well, I mean, I knew I was lactose intolerant, but I didn't realize how bad it had gotten because I had not eaten ice cream, for instance, made with real cream. I had been eating ice cream made with coconut milk or something of the sort. But someone gave me a pint of Häagen-Dazs. Good stuff. 𝑽𝒏𝒕𝒆𝒃𝒍𝒂𝒕𝒆, my favorite, absolutely. And it's made with milk. I was sick. I was seriously sick. Worse than I've ever been before because I've been staying away from milk and all forms of milk except cheese, which doesn't seem to bother me at all. As far as fresh fruit and allergies go, I mean, I always knew I was allergic to watermelon and melons in general. It feels like there's pepper in my mouth if I eat more than 1 or 2 small pieces. It makes the skin around my mouth burn and blister. And to tell you the truth, I have a friend who said to me, "You're black. You can't be allergic to watermelon." Personally, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but there you go. I'm allergic to watermelon and I'm black. And then there's grapes. I love grapes. I think my favorite food in the world is grapes. I thought they were really good until recently. They started making my mouth burn the same way that watermelon does, that same way that fresh tomatoes do sometimes. And that's sad. That's really sad, okay? And this last thing is cherries. Now, they had a sale on cherries, so I bought a bag. I ended up with breathing problems. I was short of breath, but I didn't pay attention to it. I walked Raleigh to the park and back. I took the shortcut, so it was a total of maybe 5 minutes of walking. My minimum has always been 10 or 15 minutes out walking, but I just couldn't do it. I was so incredibly short of breath. And then I was tired. And when I got home, I looked at my watch, and my heart rate was up to 132, and I was barely walking, barely shuffling along. But I blamed it on the heat, because it was late. It was like 10, 11 o'clock, whatever it was. And it was 105 degrees outside, so yeah, okay, that's it. And then there was fatigue. I slept 9 hours with 2 bathroom breaks. I wake up in the middle of the night to go. Happens, I got up in the morning, did my morning stuff, took Rowley for his walk, didn't go as far as I usually go, felt tired, but I came back. When I got back home, I got into bed and slept for another 4 hours. Then later on in the afternoon, I maybe was up maybe 3 hours. I went back to bed and slept another 5 hours. So by the time I woke up, it was nighttime. I couldn't get my mind together. I couldn't focus on anything. I couldn't, actually my eyesight was blurry too. It was just, I really just couldn't get it together, you know. And then so I went back to bed. I mean, I felt like I needed to go back to bed, so I went back to bed. And then I had a dream. The dream says, you're dying. Check the cherries. Take an antihistamine. And I woke up and I said, what? This kind of thing doesn't happen. And I said, yeah, you know, something is not right. Stop and think. Something is not right. So I took some antihistamine. I happened to have some in the house. It was old, but it was still within range, you know. And then I went online and I checked about cherries. I was going into anaphylactic shock from the cherries, and I didn't realize it. I seem to be trying to die a lot. You know? Hey, this is not happening. I don't want that. Okay? But at least my subconscious mind was thinking and warned me of the danger. So, at 19 months, I found that I need to be just as vigilant about food as when I started this journey with the RNY gastric bypass. The thing about creepy foods is that you've got to pay attention. It's the tiny little bits that add up to pounds that you don't want. So, anyway, Rowdy, the Rowdy report. Rowdy is not getting enough exercise. It's been hot. I haven't been getting enough exercise. I'm barely making a mile a day, and I'm getting up at like 5:30 in the morning to walk, and walking him at 10 o'clock at night. And in both cases, it's like 100 degrees already, you know. Rowdy is getting Rolly. Rolly used to be was his registered name. I never called him Rolly, but anyway. It's too hot outside, and he's just not playing very much inside. I feel like he's bored half to death, and I don't know what to do about it. He's not food motivated. He's never been food motivated, except possibly for cheese, which you shouldn't have too much of. I had made some puzzles, and he tries them, and he when he gets successful, when he solved them a few times, then he's not interested in them anymore, because he knows how they work, and he's not food motivated, so can't get him to play with him. I've been encouraging him to sit outside so that in the morning, or when it cools down a little bit, when it's not 110 and it's down to 100, to sit outside and kind of look at things. He's somewhat interested sometimes. Sometimes he wants to go out, sometimes he doesn't. He loves to walk though. So I keep trying to find variations on our route so he can smell something new, or at least that he hasn't smelled for a while, but then there's the rest of the day. I don't know what to do with him. Except pet him, that kind of thing. So anyway, to sum up, I'm feeling good. Actually, I'm feeling fabulous. Really. I still make that choice for surgery again. I think it was among the best decisions I've ever made, and that it's a great tool. I lost the weight very fast and had the opportunity to maintain that loss. And that's why I look for things like sliders and creepers. It's like a do-over, It's like starting over from the beginning. And I will continue to use this tool to live. So, follow the rest of my life weekly on Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Adventures with Raven and Rowley on YouTube. The link is below. And please subscribe and share this video at 𝑦𝒊𝒐𝒐 News, RNY. Please comment. I do read them and I do answer them. Don't forget to click show more to see the stuff in the description below. And thank you for watching and listening, and thanks for subscribing, for those of you who have subscribed. See you Friday, September 4th, 2021. And keep the creepies out of your house, okay? Take care of you and yours, and blessed be.